Shalom, everyone. One of the most famous and less understood holidays in the Hebrew calendar, one of the most powerful uh, celestial gateways into the upper worlds in the cycle of the year is called Yom Kippur. So what we're going to try to understand is what is Yom Kippur? What is opening? What is being opened during this time for us, for humanity? And the second thing is what can we do about enhancing our connection to the amazing forces available on that special day? Okay, so we have a few questions to start with. First one, why is Yom Kippur so holy? So holy that like it's a very strong holiday with a lot of PR because a lot of people know about Yom Kippur more people than other holidays. And why is it on the 10th day of the month of Tishrei? I think it's the only holiday that is on the 10th of the month. Usually the great holidays are in the 15th of the month, but not on the 10th. So I think it's the only one that is on the 10th. Oh, we have Tisha B'Av, it's a ninth close. Okay, but why does it have to be on the 10th of the month and such such an important holiday? And what is the connection between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah? Why do they have to come together? Why not spreading them along the year? And another thing, why is the Tanakh, the Torah, using the name Yom Kippurim? The Torah is using the name Yom Kippurim, which is plural. And usually, a lot of people say Yom Kippur. However, the Torah is always using the term Yom Kippurim. So let us try to answer. The source for Yom Kippur, you can find it in Vayikra, the book of Leviticus 23:27, okay? And it says, אך בעשור לחודש השביעי הזה, יום הכיפורים הוא מקרא קודש יהיה לכם, ועיניתם את נפשותיכם והקרבתם אישה לאדוני. Now, usually, most of the translations, especially one of the most famous, the King James Bible, are very shallow in the translation because of lack of understanding Hebrew and lack of understanding Bible or what the Torah is really about. And it says, the translation goes, although on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement, it shall be a holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Okay? As I say, when you read the King James Bible or most of the translations, you can't really relate seriously to the translation because most of these translations have no idea of what the Torah is really talking about. Okay, and they have no idea what is Hebrew. Okay, maybe I think most of the translators translated from Latin or from Greek, and not even from the original Hebrew. Okay, so let's see what is it. So first of all, we're talking about it's the 10th. The Torah says clearly, when we understand it's on the 10th of the 7th month, okay, day of atonement, but here it doesn't say atonement, it says Kippurim, plural, atonement is Kippur, okay, Mikra Kodesh. I don't really understand what's holy convocation, okay, but the Hebrew word Mikra means to call. Likor means to call. Mikra, it's a calling. It's a day for calling the holiness in. Okay? And then it says, Ve'initem et nafshotechem. And here it's being translated as you shall afflict your souls. Okay? But we know that the Torah is, if we're looking at the word to afflict, and it's relating to one of the meanings of the letters Ayin Nun Yud, okay, le'anot, which is the shoresh Ayin Nun Hey, and it is about, it's like the real translation, it's very simple, to torture. So not to afflict, to torture. Torturing one's body is not allowed according to the Torah. You're not allowed to do it to yourself. You're not allowed to do it to others. Why? Because the idol worshippers, they would scratch themselves. They should scratch them and cut themselves to blood and bleed. They would pull their hair out. The Torah is totally against it. It says, Banim atem Lashem Elokechem. You are God's children. You have to, rise to the occasion, and you have to behave as such. If you're the children of God, you cannot torture yourself. You cannot afflict yourself with pain. So why does it say over here, and it says, afflict your souls? Now, in Hebrew, the word nefesh does not equal a soul. A soul is neshama. What is nefesh? Okay, so we raised some more questions and we're going to answer them soon. And then it says also, one of the verses that repeat many, many, many times during the Yom Kippur services, prayers, וזרקתי עליכם מים טהורים וטהרתם מכל טומאותיכם ומכל גילוליכם אטהר אתכם. Ezekiel 36:25. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. Okay? It doesn't say clean. Clean is naki. Here we're talking about tahor, which means pure. From all your filthiness. And again, it's not tum'ah, means impurity, which means any kind of mental and spiritual negativity that blocks the flow of the light of God. We're not talking about physical filthiness. And from all your idols, I cleanse you. No, it does, again, tahara is purification. Purification, which means the opposite of impure, which is blocked. Tameh is blocked. Impure means free flow, which means open to receive God's light. Okay? So here it says that God will, then I sprinkle. I forgot, it's not sprinkling. In Hebrew, you don't, the word zarakti, I will throw. And most of the Jewish sources speak about throwing a big amount of water, which means the minimum of something like few hundred liters. Okay, we are talking about a big amount of water, which is equal to amount of water for a kosher mikveh. Okay, kosher mikveh, there's some arguments about what's the minimum for that. It's from few hundred liters till 1,000 liters. So that's not sprinkling. Again, you see that the translator does not understand Judaism and does not understand the Torah. So we have to be really careful about the translation. Vezarakti means I'll throw upon you, and the Talmud says it's like somebody walks down the street and a whole wave of a mikveh falls on a person at once. Now, that is equal to the power of Yom Kippur. Okay, it raises a lot of questions. I'm not answering it. We're still making questions. Okay, so first of all, in order to answer all of these questions, we will start with the explanation. And I'm not going to go into the whole explanation about all the holidays of Tishrei. There was a special explanation about it in the beginning of the lecture about Rosh Hashanah. There is also a special lecture on YouTube about Tishrei, the whole month, and it explains all the different stages that really Rosh Hashanah, according to the Jewish sources, and we're starting with the Talmud, Rosh Hashanah really takes 22 days, which means till the year really starts, the whole thing of disassembling a human soul and reassembling it, you know, like you have a car, and the car went through a long ride, and now you want to get the car back into shape. You disassemble the car and clean all the parts, and then you reassemble it. This is exactly what happens to us from Rosh Hashanah till 22 days later on Simchat Torah. We're being disassembled and reassembled. And if you want to go to the details, you have to go to the lectures I mentioned before. Now, but the first 10 days, and here really it's the first 9 days of the month of Tishrei, which starts with Rosh Hashanah, from the new moon of Libra, we are going through a 10 stages process. Why 10 stages? 10 days. It's the 10 Sefirot, from Keter till Malchut, all 10 Sefirot. These are called the 10 days of Teshuva, which means return. That on these 10 days, we're basically, you know, one of the things you do when you disassemble a car and then you reassemble it, you do a lot of fine tuning. Teshuvah means fine tuning. It means that you return to the original form that you've been created, which means every human soul has been created pure and in alignment with the light of the Creator. So what happened? We understand. We got endless light. We could not have this endless light for free. Why? Because we were created in the image of God. And being in the image of God means you're not taking free lunches. It means you create your own self. You don't allow anyone to create it for you. And you share by yourself. You're not the subject of sharing. You are the initiator of sharing. So all these three components must be part of our true self. And when we go away from it, we have to find a way back, because what's the problem if somebody is a parasite? If somebody is a hooligan, if somebody is just violent, is a thief, is a murderer, what's wrong with it? He does what he feels like doing. Politically correct, he has his own narrative, right? No, it doesn't work this way. Why? Because if you want to connect to bliss, you want to connect to happiness, you have to connect to the original form of the creation, which is the light of the Creator. And to connect to the light of the Creator, you cannot spend time on blaming other people, because by the moment you blame, you are not in charge of your life. You admit that other people are responsible for whatever happens to you, that you're in total disconnection with the Creator. So maybe you're right, but you're dead right, okay? Blaming others is not making anyone better and happier, okay? No matter how right you are, but you'll be dead right. That's number one, okay? You have to take responsibility. If I am going to be happy, it's because I am going to create it, because I'm the only reason for me to be happy. It's because I decided I am an image of God. I create my happiness by myself. I'm not waiting for anyone to ask me for forgiveness, to give me compensations or something like this to be happy. I'm going to be happy because I've decided so. Okay, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to be creative. And I'm going to create my life the way I feel like, no matter what are the limitations around me. That's what I am. That's what I have. And I'm going to make it the best. That's being a creator. And I'm going to connect to the Creator also through unconditional love and sharing. Okay? Teshuva means returning to the original form of my soul. Any other emotions and state of mind, it's not a narrative, it's a stupidity. Why? Because it's against the rules of the universe. And you know, when you're not wise enough to know the wisdom of the creation, you hurt yourself, basically, and you hurt everybody around you. The 10 days of Teshuvah are to bring ourselves back to ourselves. That's why it's return and not repentance. Returning to who I really am, what are my real goals, and what is the person that I want to become. Now, how does the Creator help us during these 10 days? Literally, on the first 9 days, He creates something very unique. As we said you want really to repair the car and do the best to it, you disassemble it. Okay, so from the first day of the year, Rosh Hashanah, the Creator is taking us through a process that is called Nesira. Simple Hebrew, sewing. You know, like a saw. When you are sewing wood, okay, it's the same thing. To sew. Sewing what? Sewing the connection between the soul and the body. And it's called domita. Domita in Aramaic, like in Hebrew, tardema. You can hear the similar sound. Tardema means, dormita means sleep, like in the Latin language. Dormir, okay, in French, and so dormant in English. It's all coming from the same word, which means to sleep. What happens to us when we sleep? The connection between the body and the soul is being cut off. What's special about it, which is because what happens when we sleep, most people, when they sleep, they get better. Why do they get better? Because most of our pain is because the ongoing battle between the body and the soul, right? The soul wants all the time, it has its own narrative. It wants to be in the image of God. It wants love, sharing, positivity, excitement, creativity, and stuff. That's what the soul wants. The body, we're always in a body, right? When we're alive. The body is made especially to make it hard. The body has whims. It has the evil inclination adjacent to it. All the destruction possible in order to distract us from who we really supposed and want to be. So the ongoing battle between the body and the soul gets both very tired. By the end of the day, they need a ceasefire. It's called sleep. So when we are asleep, the body and the soul are being sewn away from each other. The soul is rejuvenating, going up to be recharged. The body is rejuvenating because the body is going through very, very crucial processes as we are asleep. In the morning, the soul is coming back and the fight continues. Okay? Now, so what happened to us? We are not aware of it, but right now during the 9 days, the first 9 days of Tishrei, we are going through this kind of, it's like sewing is taking a procedure from Keter to Malchut, 10 stages of sewing. The first most important are the first 2 days. That's why it's Rosh Hashanah. The other 7 days, we get through the sewing of a body and soul stage by stage. And as that is happening, the way Rabbi Ariza calls it, it's cutting the judgments from Zeir Anpin. Zeir Anpin is the soul consciousness, the sharing consciousness, the spiritual consciousness, the altruistic consciousness, and loading them upon Malchut, which means loading down all the negativity into the body and then being drained from the body. This is what these days are about. So it's about cleansing. It's about separating body and soul and cleansing them as this being happened during the first 9 days. And again, as I said, it's 10 Sefirot, but it takes 9 days because by the beginning of Yom Kippur, all 10 Sefirot are being already cleansed and so on. That means that the last Sefirot, because, you know, how do you stick 10 Sefirot into 9 days? So the last one you stick on the 9th day. Okay, if somebody has a math problem. Okay, no problem, it's okay. Okay, it's day by day, but the last day, whatever is left, is being sown on the last day. But then comes, so we explained that process. So the moment we finished the process of the Nesirah or the Dormita, that sleeping, like spiritual sleeping stage of cleansing and rest to the soul, okay? Now comes this 10th day, which is Yom Kippur. Now, what about that? First, we have to explain how the system, the universal cosmic system works, okay? We have the main 4 Sfirot, Chokhmah, Binah, Zeranpin, and Malchut. It relates to the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton. Yud for Chokhmah, Hey for Binah, Vav for Zeranpin, Hey for Malchut. And then the Zohar explains the structure is very similar to the structure of a spring in the heartland of Israel. Like all the area around Jerusalem, Hebron, Shechem, all of this heartland of Israel, it's full of springs. Okay, all the agriculture is based on springs, people's life. Now you have to understand that Israeli springs are not structured like springs in most other countries, because like mostly they trickle. So you know, you have this Israeli, I'm talking about the time of the first temple and before, sitting in front of the spring and waiting for the water to trickle, and it's like, that's not going to work this way. So what does he do? Let's help it out. So you dig in a tunnel into the mountain, so it takes more water from the mount, so it's like a thicker trickle. Okay, more water come in. Then they put a block, like a stone in the opening with a hole in it, so the water come out into the pool. So the trickle, that water coming out, is called the source. Okay, the source, and that is related like the letter Yud. It's where all the bliss and the power of the Creator is coming out into our level, our universe. Okay, after the source, there's always a pool, man-made pool, to collect all the water. So when somebody needs the water, there's already a pool full of water. Okay, from the pool, you have pipes, water aqueducts, that take the water into the different fields down the hill. Okay, so, and that is called Sfirat Zeranpin. And Zeranpin, if you look at the letter Vav, it looks like an aqueduct, like a pipe. And then where does it bring the water to? Into the field. The field is Sfirat Malchut. Malchut means us, the orchard. You can plant peaches, you can plant mango, you can plant oranges, olives, whatever you like. Okay, that's your field, that's your life. Now, this is related to our world, which means the spiritual and the physical world. Whenever we have a person with a lot of bliss in their lives, it means that that person somehow keeps the pool clean and the pipes clean, and the field is always connected to the pipes. Okay? The moment the person is making his life impure, which means the moment the person is creating a frequency of selfishness, anger, negativity, blame, any kind of negative state of mind, it blocks the connection between Malchut and Zeir Anpin. And if that happens on a very intense level, that can even bring a lot of dirt to fill the pipes. So the light and the bliss cannot flow through the pipes. Even though it flows through the pipes, it does not reach the field. The field is not connected to the pipes. Because the rule of affinity says that when two systems are in affinity with each other on the same wavelength, then they can feed of each other. So if Zeir Anpin symbolize the upper chesed, the upper spiritual chesed, and Malchut symbolize our world, the field could be my sustenance, my physical, bodily health, my family life, my home, everything that is, I call it my life, or my receiving. How much did I get? How much do I have in life? That's called Malchut. This is called the field, the recipient, because the field is receiving the water and it grows. It grows whatever is making you having bliss. Okay? So when a person is in a negative state of mind, no matter what the reasons are, you know what? As we said, he's right. People stepped on him, people hit him, people afflicted him with a lot of pain. He's right. But is that right? Because the moment I am addicted to pain and blame, then I am, the letter A, the field, Malchut, disconnected from the pipes, the Anpin, the Vav. So I can scream day and night, God, fill me up with bliss, give me good luck. It's like you're screaming, I need water, I need bread. Go to the grocery store. Okay? If you are screaming bread and you're sitting at home, either you bake some bread or you go buy some. But if you're sitting there and you scream and nobody hears you, then it sounds like really weird. Okay, so again, our job is to reconnect ourselves, the hay, the field, Malchut, back to Zeir Anpin. That's on a regular day-to-day work. That's a spiritual work. You don't have bliss, you don't have fulfillment. Okay, transform yourself, transcend yourself, and when you reach spirituality, you connect yourself to the pipes. That's called returning yourself. That's called Teshuva. Tashuv Hey. The Hey will return back to the Vav. The Hey will return back to Zeir Anpin, and then you have the flow of bliss, enriching your life with bliss and good fortune. Now, how does Rosh Hashanah and the holidays around connect to it? So, the Rabbi Isaac Luria is asking the question, why is the Torah calling the day of atonements, in plural, Yom Kippurim, not Yom Kippur, which looks like grammatically the right name. So you see, when we go back to the translation, the translator usually translates according to what he imagines the text was supposed to say. And then we have a problem. You missed the point. The Torah always says in plural, the Day of Atonements. And the Ariza, Rabbi Zakloria, the great Kabbalist from the 16th century in Tzfat, says, why in plural? Because it is a day of combining two different frequency of existence. Bina and Malchut. Again, what do you see over here? Where is Bina? Bina is the pool. A pool full of spring water. What's the other word for that? Mikveh. It's the purifying water, the mikveh of tahara, the water body of purification. Okay? Why is it called again Yom Kippurim in plural? Because there is a saying in the word Kippurim, you can find the letters as follows. Okay? You see that first you have the letters Kaf and Vav. You see them in red. Kaf and Vav. Okay? So here's the Kaf, here's the Vav. Kaf Vav is Youdkevitch Gematria. The numerical value of Kaf Vav is 26, which is Youdkevitch, the energy of Zeranpin, the spiritual world, the heavenly world. Okay, the world of grace and love. This is a frequency we need to tap into in order to achieve spiritual connection. That's called Teshuva. Return the Hey into the Vav. Now, we have also Pei and Reish. You can see the Pei and the Reish are in black. Okay, in the word Kippurim. Pei Reish is Gematria 280, which is the number that represents judgment. Par dinim, 280 judgments, which is the judgments of Sfirat Malchut. Okay? Then the letters left are Yud Mem. Yud Mem, it is 50. Yam, which is an ocean. And this is representing Binah, the 50 gates of Binah. Okay? So if we look at the word Kippurim, you have there all the three Sfirot. Let's go back. We have Malchut, Zeranpin, and Binah. It's like Malchut and Zeranpin are going up to Binah. So what happens on Yom Kippurim? We all go up and we are being set in the mikveh, in the pool, in Binah, right? Binah is the pool, correct? So this is like the symbolic explanation. The real meaning is that on Yom Kippur, we all have this amazing opportunity to elevate, to ascend to a frequency there is no other day in the year we can ascend to such a high frequency of total bliss, and that is simply surrounding around us, and we are bathing in that bliss. Okay? That's what Yom Kippurim is about. It's a day of bathing in bliss and light in the level of Binah. Now, how does that manifest? Okay? So Rabbi Azakloria continues on the words לא על הלחם לבדו יחיה אדם, כי על כל מוצא פי השם יחיה אדם. Translated, again, King James Version, Bible, Deuteronomy 8:3, man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. It's not what it says in the verse. It says what comes out of God's mouth. The word does not appear in the original Bible. Okay? But what does it mean? Of course, a man does not live only on bread. You need to go to, you need some culture. You need some I don't know, go to a concert, maybe to a museum. Nonsense. I'm not saying I'm against concerts and stuff like this, but what we're talking is, the Rabbi Azakloria is saying is very simple. During daily life, regular life, when a person wants to connect to energy that will make him live, we need to connect through physical means, which means I need to eat food, okay? Which a symbol for it is bread. What does it mean, bread? Why do I have to eat bread? Because In the bread, there are two dimensions. One dimension is the physical, the vitamins, the calories, all the nutrients that I need, I can find in my food. But the bread and the rest of the kind of foods, it's not just about feeding the body, they also have spiritual energy in them. So that's why when I make a blessing over the food, I arouse that spiritual energy, that godly light, those spiritual sparks. I arouse those sparks and I tap into them, which means if I want to connect to spiritual energy, many times I have to do it via physical means. Okay? So that's why I bless over the food. I bless over the drinks. That's why also, where else do I connect to spiritual energy through physicality? Let's say I want to purify myself, so I go and dip myself into a body of water, what is called mikveh. So that elevates me because I'm connecting to very high levels of purification, but I'm using a physical element, like water, okay? And same way, sexual relationship. Sexual relationships have a physical aspect, but it has also the union of Zeranpin and Malchut, male and female, and by this you draw bliss from above. But that you need also to have a blessing. Well, these are the blessings in the wedding. These blessings allow the connection to happen between the two souls, and then sexual relation becomes a tool to draw spiritual energy. And then we have oil, ointments, all kinds of stuff that people use in order to make their skin feel better. Okay? So, what does the Rabbi Zechariah say? That during 364 days of the year, you want to connect to spirituality. It's not by prayer only, it's not by meditation only, it's also by physical actions that have two dimensions, a physical dimension and a spiritual dimension. Of course, if you are not aware, you connect only to the physical dimension. But when a person starts to be spiritual, he starts to understand there is a spiritual dimension. Okay, so that's what Rabbi Zechariah is explaining. And that's why he says, however, on the day of Yom Kippurim, we feed our soul, we feed the field, Malchut, food and drinks. And the other things, like we said, all of these supplies, but we feed it through directly from Bina. Which is, what did we say? That on Yom Kippur, on Yom Kippurim, Malchut rises up. Let's go back. Malchut, which is in the bottom, rising up to Zeranpin. Together with Zeranpin, it's rising up to Bina, and then we dip into the upper eternal pool. So we are sitting right into the spiritual supreme mikveh, and we are bathing in bliss. Now my soul can tap into this flow of energy, okay, without any physical assistance. I do not need food. I did not need water. I do not need sexual relations. I do not need a wine. I do not need ointments and physical water. I am bathing in the eternal spiritual pool. I am in the world to come. I'm there. And I can suck in that light directly into my soul without any intermediates. Okay? That's what the Rabbi Isaac Luria is saying. Isaac Luria is saying, so when it says, the man does not live on bread alone, but whatever comes from the mouth of God, we're talking about the spiritual energy that is the essence of life. That usually we connect to it through physical actions, not on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur, we go up to Binah, and therefore we are using the word mitanim. Why are we using the word mitanin, which is wrongly translated as affliction? Let us explain. Okay, what are the 5 afflictions wrongly translated? No food and drinks, no leather shoes, no sexual relations, no ointments, and no washing. Okay? So, but what does it mean, affliction? To suffer? A lot of people are really convinced that on Yom Kippur you must suffer. Why? The more you suffer, God will have more mercy upon you. What a stupid, way to see the Creator. No. It doesn't work like this. The rule of affinity says, how do you connect to bliss? You have to vibrate on the same wavelength. So, the real translation for the word inui, ve'initem, is from the word ani, poor. And what it says, it doesn't say you afflict your soul, you have to make your nefesh poor. What is nefesh? We know that the human soul has 5 different levels. The names from bottom to up is nefesh, the lowest, ruach, higher, spirit, neshama, soul, then you have chaya and yechida, 5 different levels from bottom to top. So the nefesh is this part of the soul that is the lowest, the one that is activating the physical body. What does that mean? It means, what is the physical body? That wavelength that I need to eat, I need to drink, I need to see. If you see it, you believe it. That's a level of nefesh. On Yom Kippur, we are so much above it. So what do? When you go so high, you need to shut down your nefesh, because the nefesh is the part that connects to the body, that once it's hungry, once you're thirsty, you're thirsty, you don't want just water, you want it sweet. No, you want it bitter. You want it with lemon. You understand what I'm saying? This is the nefesh. It's so low, it's making so much noise, it kind of preventing us from connecting to our high self. So by shutting down the 5 means of communication of the nefesh, which are food and drinks, leather shoes. Why leather shoes? Because it connects you to the physical ground. Okay? Sexual relations, again, you achieve fulfillment through a physical body thing. Same thing with ointments, same thing with washing. You're using the physical in order to get to the spiritual. Not on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur, you have to shut down the physical because you don't need to connect via an intermediate. You connect directly to the source. You connect directly to the storage, the pool of bliss. And that's what Yom Kippur is about. So what do we get instead? As Rabbi Isaac Luria is asking, what do you get instead of those 5 things that we're not using? Because we don't want to ground ourselves. Nefesh is grounding. You want to lift yourself, and the day allows you to fly and ascend so high like no other day over the year, along the period of the year. So instead of those 5 shutdowns, that you shut down the connection through your physical body, you get instead 5 prayers. In a regular day, You have in the Hebrew prayer book 3 prayers. There's a morning prayer, there's afternoon prayer, and there's an evening prayer. 3. On Yom Kippur, you have 5 prayers. There is the evening prayer, Arvit, Malchut. You have, Malchut is the lowest. Then you come up to Zeranpin, this is Shacharit, the morning prayer of Yom Kippur. Then you have Binah, which is Musaf. It's the additional prayer after the Torah reading. Okay? It's called Musaf, additional, because on regular days you don't say. Then you have the afternoon prayer, which is Mincha, Chokhmah. And then you have another additional prayer, Ne'ilah, which is a prayer just before the holiday is over. Ne'ilah, lockdown. Okay? Locking it in. Keter. Okay? Why 5 prayers? So the 5 prayers are becoming 5 meals that through the prayer itself and the meditation during the prayer, I feed the light directly from the pool, from the reservoir, God's reservoir of bliss, the upper pool, Bina. So we have 5 big meals on Yom Kippur, which means we are eating the whole day long almost. Little breaks, but you know, every prayer lasts like 2 hours or something like this. In many synagogues, people have no time to go even just to breathe. You pray and you pray and you pray and you pray. Why? If you understand the what we're talking about, the more you pray, the more you get, the more you suck from the upper world. And then comes the end of Yom Kippur, and we blow the shofar. Only at the end, Rosh Hashanah, we blow during. Yom Kippur, we blow the last moment of the holiday. As it leaves, we blow the shofar. Why? This is in Ne'ilah. Ne'ilah, as we said, it's locking in. It's locking our connection to the tree of life for the whole year. Now I'm fulfilled. I ate spiritual bliss for a whole year. So I want to lock it in. So by the shofar, and the shofar is a symbol of going into freedom. Tka b'shofar gadol lecherutenu. Blow in a big shofar for our freedom. It's a call for freedom. Freedom for what? When we're really connected unconditionally to bliss, we are free of the angel of death. We are free from, angel of death, as we said in Rosh Hashanah, is being insulted because we are afraid, being hurt because we are painful. All of these are illusions that we tap into them voluntarily. Nobody forcing us to get hysterical and upset and crazy and angry when unpleasant things happen. We can be free, look at that and say, okay, it happened. What do I learn from that and where's the opportunity? Okay, that means freedom. That means that I know how to connect to bliss and I'm sure of it. I'm certain of it, and therefore I am not afraid, because fear disconnects me from the Creator. Upset disconnects me from the Creator. Blame disconnects me from the Creator. Okay, well, if this is understood, we can move on. What else do we have in Yom Kippur? Except on the 5 prayers, we have also in between the 5 prayers, we have woven within the prayer 13 times what is called the 13 attributes. Hashem, Hashem, Kel Rachum V'Chanun Echapayim. What? 26 times we repeat it. Why so much? Because we learned that the 13 attributes connect us to a level even higher than Binah. It connects us to Keter, which is even higher than the source. The Keter is the source of the source, the seed of the seed, the cause of all causes. And what is the cause of all causes? It's the sharing will of the Creator with us. which means during saying the 13 attributes, we have the highest chance to connect to the original will behind the creation, which is to do good. And when I connect to it, I can return back to my original job. My job is to receive God's light and to be fulfilled. Oh, there's a little problem. You want to receive God's light, you have to work for it. No pain, no gain. How? You have to overcome all the narratives and the negativities and the memories and so on and so forth that take you away from that person you want to become. That a person that is flooded with bliss and light and all that is good. Also, the 13 attributes, they are drawing bliss from Mazala. Mazala is in that level in the higher Keter that has all of this light coming out. When you connect to that place, everything is possible. You can even change not just your spiritual DNA, you can change your physical DNA. And we know scientifically today that a person has an ability to shut down DNA and to awaken DNA. The fact that we have a certain DNA, it doesn't mean a lot, it means a lot, but we can still shut down some genes and awaken some genes. We have more control over our DNA, genetic manifestation than we think. So when we connect to Mazala, we can change our spiritual DNA, our physical DNA. Why? The moment I can connect to what is God's purpose in this world? Only one, doing good. There's no other purpose. Whatever happens around us must be part of it, although not always you can see on the moment. But if you know, you have that certainty that whatever happens will turn out to be good. And if end is well, all is well. And if it's not well, it's not the end. So when we are really connected to that place through the 13 attributes, we really can rise to the occasion and remove so much dirt from our souls. That is also sweetening the judgments. Why? The moment I have this, aha, now I realize. I thought it was terrible. No, it was not terrible what happened to me. It was an amazing opportunity that I really going to rush in and take the opportunity. Also, the last word of the 13 attributes is venake, same numerical value as mikveh. What is mikveh? It's a place, a body of water you dip in to cleanse yourself. On Yom Kippur, as we said, God throws upon us those waters of purification. We have to pour it down, and that's why it's called Mikra Kodesh, calling the holiness in. Now here, there's another issue. It says in the Talmud, Tractate Yoma, page 81b, says, Tanei Chia Barav. Rabbi Chia, the son of Rav, said, Shabbat Shabbatonu Lachem. It's a sabbatical of sabbatical. And you should, as we said, not afflict your soul, but shut down your nefesh, your body consciousness. From the 9th of the month in the evening, from evening till evening, you should have a sabbatical. So Rabbi Chia is asking, V'chi betisha mitanim? Are we fasting on the 9th day of Av? We're fasting on the 10th day. Why it says on the 9th? Ela lomar lecha, but to teach you. Kol ha'ochel v'shoteh batshii ma'aleh alav v'katuv kilu itana tshii v'asiri. Whoever eats and drinks on the 9th day of Tishrei, and Rabbi Zohar is saying for the purpose of building the vessel so for so much light to come in, it's like he fasted both days, the 9th and the 10th. But only what Rabbi Zohar is saying. Why? Look at that. Whenever we have any kind of a ceremony of connecting to high levels of energy, let's say it's a wedding ceremony. Let's say it's a Friday night ceremony. There's one thing that follows all of these events. You have to eat. You have to drink wine and eat bread. You have to eat. Why? You need to build a physical vessel for all of this amazing, powerful light to come. You have to bring it down to this physical world. What's the problem with Yom Kippur? We connect to such high levels, but how do we bring them down? We have to bring it down. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You know, that's a non-Jewish verb. If it were a Jewish verb, it will say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but without actions. Why? You need the action in order to manifest the good intention. So I had great prayers. I need to bring it down. How do I bring it down? I need food. So you have a holiday, you have prayers, you eat. Okay? You have a wedding, you prayers, then you eat. You have to bring that holiness down to a physical vessel. But Yom Kippur, where's the physical vessel? You have to eat twice on the 9th day of Tishrei, the eve of Yom Kippur. So you are basically building by this the vessel for all this light to come into you and stay there. Okay? Still, you need a vessel. Okay, what else do we have on Yom Kippur? One thing that is very, very, very important is a central issue in the whole Yom Kippur celebration is the story of the scapegoat. Okay, what's the story of the scapegoat? The priest, the high priest in the temple in Jerusalem, as long as the temple was operating, okay, he used to, every Yom Kippur, the peak of the services was when he would receive two he-goats. Each one had its own mark on their horns, and the other half of that mark was put into a hat. And then there will be kind of a lottery, and that piece of ribbon that will come out of the hat will become the scapegoat. One goat will be offered to God in the temple, and one goat will become the scapegoat. What does it mean, a scapegoat? That scapegoat, that goat, the Kohen would lay his hands over its head, and he will put on that goat all the sins of humanity. If you want to translate it to today's life, it's like when you have an accumulation of too much negativity, the Kohen will channel all of this negativity into that goat. Which means, you know, the dark side, take that goat and leave us alone. Then a special person with a special looks will looks like really extraterrestrial, okay, E.T., and he will take that goat and walk it to a mount east of Jerusalem, the Mount of Azazel. Okay, that's the name of the mount. So if you have a curse that Israelis use, is go to Azazel. You know, because what will happen to that goat when it goes to Azazel? The person who brings the goat to Azazel will simply give him a bad look and throw him from the mount. And it says the goat will explode in the air into pieces. But the moment it comes to the bottom of the mountain, it'll already be like exploded into many, many, many pieces. All of that negativity of humanity will be channeled through it. And we had this kind of funneling, all the darkness and the negativity from the whole planet. So the world can start up fresh and again. What happens when we do not do it properly? The negativity accumulates. and it starts to create all kinds of blockages. We call it global warming. We call it environmental pollution. We call it global violence, okay? And it's also the cause of epidemics and plagues, explained the Zohar. When the world is too much charged with negative energy, what do we mean negative energy? Violence, and especially selfishness. People today are so selfish. They're so busy with themselves. They're so unwilling to give away anything, any comfort, just to serve somebody else. That is because of a heavy load of negativity. That negativity is being manifested into global warming, into environmental pollution, into global violence, and into epidemics and plagues. The Zohar says all of these are direct result of the accumulation of so much negativity in and around planet Earth. So the power of the high priest was in the temple in Jerusalem. He could drain that negativity so humanity can start all over again. You know, the way we sing during the Selichot, okay? Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. We sinned in front of you, have mercy upon us. We don't even say we're sorry. We sinned, we admit, we're humans. Humans make mistakes. Give us another chance. Have mercy upon us. Take away that dirt that we created so we can breathe, so we can have another opportunity, another chance. If this is clear, this is very important. Now, that's what the whole thing, we have to understand. The flow from the point of view of the Creator is unstoppable. The flow is endless. Whoever limits the flow is us. When we disconnect from the spiritual realm, the funnel cannot feed us anymore. When we are busy creating a lot of negativity, it blocks the pipes. So the bliss is being released to us, but it cannot flow through the pipes. We do not receive it because of whose actions? Ours. Because of whose consciousness? Ours. Because of whose behavior? Ours. And when that accumulates and accumulates on a global state, we get pandemics. And now we know the world is a global village. Okay, so you have a global pandemic. That's the definition of pandemic. It's epidemic that is global, terra and global. Why? Because people are too close to each other culturally. And what does it mean? It's the same disease everywhere. The disease of me, and only me. The instant and temporary relief and gratification of shopping and buying and having fun and excitement with no inner meaning, with no spiritual growth, just to suck from the upper world and get burned over it. That is pollution. It's a mental pollution of planet Earth. Now there's no Beit HaMikdash, there's no temple. How do we drain that negativity so we can ease the situation a little bit? And the answer is, Uneshalma farim sfateinu. What the sages are saying, instead of the temple work, we have our own actions that can imitate and replace, for meanwhile, all the temple work. And what is that including? So Rabbi Aska is asking 3 questions about the scapegoat. Why making a lottery? Why Aaron? And what is the connection to Yom Kippur? And I think we answered. The lottery is between, there was a goat for a scapegoat and the goat for God. It's like to discern between the filth that has to be drained and the light and the bliss that we celebrate. Okay? So how do we replace the scapegoat? Now you understand what scapegoat. It's like that's goat, the he goat, that all of humanity's blame goes into it. It's kind of, what is that goat to be blamed? But you know what? You want to have an vaccination for epidemic. You need to first start with animals. Why? They give their lives, but humanity can be saved. You don't want to start testing on people. Okay? Now, how do we achieve the same goals in nowadays? So instead of the story itself, we have the Torah reading of Yom Kippur from Parashat Acharei Mot that is telling us the story of all the offerings and the ceremonies of Yom Kippur in the temple. After that, after reading the Torah, during Musaf, which is the third prayer, as we said, Arvit, we have the first in the evening, Shacharit in the morning, then Torah reading, then Musaf. During Musaf, we have Seder HaAvodah. Seder HaAvodah, we read to the detail all the actions of the high priest during Yom Kippurim. To the detail. Why are we doing it? Because by reading the words, visualizing it happening, we are basically going into the Beit HaMikdash, the temple. We activate the temple and we make it happen. So we can cleanse humanity's negativity. We can drain that negativity if we do it right during this Yom Kippur. Of course, the pandemic will ease all over the world. Of course, there will be less global warming. It's all dependent on our actions on Yom Kippur. Okay, of course, every day. But Yom Kippur, it's a concentrated effort. And then, instead of the physical action of the scapegoat, we have kaparot. What is kaparot? Rabbi Ariza, in his book, Pri Etz Chaim, the fruit of the tree of life, page 600, says, after the destruction of the temple, we cannot do the scapegoat thing anymore. We are not capable. We don't have that big transmitter, the temple, to do it physically. Okay? So what do we have? So we have, instead of the goat, the he-goat, we take a rooster. And what is a rooster? Says Rabbi Zechariah, Vehu sod kfiyat hagvurot. We overcome the judgments. Ki tarnegol, rooster, is also called in Hebrew gever. Gever means somebody who overcame. Vusod hagvurot shel yesod. The tarnegol is the judgments of Sfirat Yesod, which is called gever. And is the secret of the nukva, usod ha-nukva, v'yom chi keneged yesod. So, when do you do kaparot? You take a rooster for a man, or a chicken for a woman, okay? If kids, same thing, male for male, female for female. If the woman is pregnant, okay, and you don't know what's the gender of the fetus, you take two in addition. Male and female, okay? And what do? You take the rooster can channel the energy of Sfirat Yesod. It's not that powerful as a goat, but we cannot do it with a goat. But we can do it with a rooster or chicken personally. This is Sfirat Yesod. So we slaughter that chicken or rooster to sweeten the judgment. The judgments of Sfirat Yesod. Sfirat Yesod is a Sfira at the gate of Malchut. But it's not Malchut. It's not the whole thing, it's just the gate. Ulachniam, to overthrow and overpower the judgments of Yesod. Ach b'yom Kippurim. However, on the day of Kippurim, which is the judgments of Sfirat Malchut, Shabbat Dinim Kashim, which is harsh judgments, Kenegdam Seir HaMishtalech, we can fix them only with the scapegoat. Because the goat has ability to deal with much harder judgments than the rooster. So we learn, נמצא כי השעיר, התרנגול הזה הוא דוגמת השעיר, so the rooster is replacing the scapegoat. רק שהוא נמתק יותר ולכן הוא נמתק באשמורת. However, it's a smaller correction, only in Sfirat Yesod, and it's sweetening everything, and the best thing to do it is to do it at dawn, just before dawn, because that's when, why the light is starting, because mercies are overpowering the darkness of the night. Now, but if you do kaparot with a rooster, today or tomorrow, any day but the 9th day of Tishrei, has nothing to do with it, because it's connected only to the 9th day of Tishrei, and only between midnight and dawn. But if you do it on other days, you know, don't do it. There's nothing. It's like it's connecting to nothing. Why? Only the rooster could connect to that frequency of Yesod. And only when it's between midnight and dawn. Only then you have that window of opportunity to sweeten the judgment by sweetening by the rooster. How do you do? There's a text you take, if you're a man, you take a rooster and you say, take it and you do like this 3 times. You say, that chicken is going to die, I'm going to live, and by this I'm sweetening all the judgments by this rooster. Then you take the rooster, the shochet slaughters him, and you have to think it's sweetening the judgments of Yesod. Now, remember that in kosher slaughtering, the animal is not supposed to feel the cut. And the cut cuts the throat and the veins or the arteries of that lead to the brain. So there's an immediate blackout. So there's no feeling of pain. And also because this knife has to be perfect. So there's no feel of pain. So there's no pain. However, there's a transforming of the judgments and sweetening them, which is the whole time between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's about turning negativity into positivity, turning a missed opportunity into an option for success. Another part of the prayers of Yom Kippur is called vidui. Vidui is wrongly translated as confession. Oh, we sin that we take our fist, right arm fist, and we hit on the heart. Okay? Now, confession belongs to another religion. Okay? We're not confessing. The word vidui means in Hebrew confirmation. How do you see certainty? Or certainly in Hebrew, vadai. Vidui is to make things certain. Okay, let's say, you know, in normal Hebrew, you make an appointment with somebody, and then he calls you a few hours before. I just wanted to make sure that you're coming. How do you call that talk? Vidui. Same word. It's confirmation, not confession. Okay? So what do you want to confirm? We are not taking the blame. We're taking the right fist, which represents what? Chesed. Right arm is chesed. Loving kindness. 5 fingers. 5 sfirot. And then we hit it lightly on the place of the heart. Where is the place that we accumulate emotions? The heart. So what do? We take the heart and on it we beat smoothly. Smoothly. What do? We beat smoothly with our fist, but it's like we are taking the chesed and we are wiping. We're basically wiping the negativity away. And by doing this, we are basically saying whatever we did in the past it's over. Yes, we sinned, it's over. We did this, it's over. We put it behind us. A year full of curses is over. We are asking for a new positive purity for a coming year. So it is confirmation. I confirm that I'm not that person anymore. I'm not beating on the heart. I'm wiping the negativity with the 5 fingers. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet. It's like Keter, Chochmah, Binah, Ze'anpin, U'Malchut. 5 sfirot of wiping the negativity with Chesed. Okay. And now, to a very important conclusion. Kol Nidrei, the most famous almost prayer of Yom Kippur. It's the beginning of Kippur. It's even before the first prayer of Yom Kippur. Okay? And the Zohar of Parashat Pinchas, verse 808, says as follows: אלו יומין דהיתבעון מלאכת חול, אינון מסיתרא דעץ הדעת טוב ורע. דהיתהפך ממטה לנחש ומנחש למטה. לכל חד כפום עבדוי, ודע מ"ט מטה, מטאטרון מטה. הנחש סמך מ', אבל בהיום עד יום הכיפורים דתקראי קודש, שלטה אילנה דחיי, דלה השתתף ימי שטן ופגרה, ומסתרי לא יגורך רע, ובגינדה בי נייחין עבדין באילנה דחיי, ובי נפקה נחירות, בי נפקה משלשלות. What does he say? That was Aramaic. So during the regular days, you know, Sunday till Friday, the first till the 6th day of the week, okay, those are the days of work. And those are the days from the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Every action we have during the 6 days is about splitting between the good and evil. Let's say I'm a carpenter. There's a lot of dirt that I have to carve out from the wood till I get the right piece of furniture that I need. I'm a seamstress. There's a lot of cloth that I have to cut off till I get the dress I'm looking for, okay? I am a cook. So there's a lot, you know, did you look at the garbage after the cooking is over? Did you look how the kitchen looks like? There's a lot of dirt that you have to remove till you get this bowl of good, tasty food. Work is about good and evil, separating between what is good and what is not necessary, not good. Okay? So every day also emotionally, you have to sort out good and evil. Somebody said something. I feel like hitting him in the face. No, that's not good. A, it's not going to make me closer to God. B, it's not going to make my life easier when the police comes, right? So I'm not going to beat him in the face because that's a feeling and a thought that I have and I have to sort it out. It's like peeling a potato. You don't want to eat the peels of the potato. The same way you don't want those emotions that are going to get you into trouble. Correct? So all week long, from the first day till the 6th day, we are working to separate good and evil. And you know what? What happens to somebody who is playing with dirt? It gets dirty. So you have always to remove it away. However, on that day, which is Yom Kippurim, it's called Kodesh. It's holy. It's only the day of the tree of life only. There's no tree of knowledge, good and evil. There's no Satan. There's no dark forces on Yom Kippur. If you go and you let yourself ascend on Yom Kippur and find yourself in the upper mikveh, okay, in Binah, you are being purified ongoingly. It's a tree of life. And there's no evil, no fear, no negativity. And therefore, on this day, this is the day for the slaves to rest. Who are the slaves? The people are afraid from anger, afraid of loss, afraid of violence. They're afraid of fear, they're afraid of pain, they're afraid. It's us. Every time those emotions erupt, we get hit because we are not connected strong enough to the tree of life. And the whole thing about Rosh Hashanah till Yom Kippur, when we say to God in the prayer, Zochreinu lechaim, remember us for life. Melech hafetz b'chaim, a king that wants life. What do we want? We are wishing to draw in the consciousness and the powers and the energy of the tree of life into ourselves. Why? Because we want to live. We want that through the whole year, we don't get reactive when we watch the TV, so it's better you don't watch TV. We don't want to get reactive because somebody just wants to make us embarrassed or upset. No, 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 we have an agenda. I decided my New Year's resolutions are, I am the creator of my movie. I am the creator of the script of my life. And there's no place for anger, hatred, embarrassment. I'm not a slave of those emotions. That's the only real freedom. Free human beings are not enslaved to hatred and blame. Why? They create their own story in spite and because in the most biggest chutzpah and audacity in the world. I am drawn from the Creator, and therefore, no matter what happens to me, I will laugh, I'll be happy, I'll flourish, I'll experience bliss and good fortune. Why? Because that's my movie and I am in charge of my movie. Where do I get that consciousness? It's called the consciousness of the tree of life. On Yom Kippur, it's a day of the tree of life, and therefore, we want to suck it in. That's why it's a day for the slaves to rest from their slavery. It's a day for them to get out to freedom by getting out of their chains. By the way, remember we spoke about Bina, that it's 50? What's 50? Jubilee, the year of freedom. Reaching Bina means reaching freedom. If you can hold on to that consciousness of Yom Kippur, or as the Zohar says, the more you can attach to that day of Yom Kippur, the more free you human being you'll be during the coming year. Because you'll say, that's how I want to stay. And then when a day later, a thought is coming in, creeping on you with its dirt and negativity. No, 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 I'm too busy today. No, 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 that's, you know, it's not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. Yeah, but that guy harassed you. That guy, he stole from you. He abused you. He killed your parents. Yes, but he is not my own. He doesn't own me. And my revenge is to stay with the tree of life, to create an amazing, beautiful, big life. That's freedom. That's freedom. Okay? That's what Yom Kippur is about. And therefore, in the end of Yom Kippur, in Tfilat Ne'ilah, how do you seal the prayers? You say, Chotmeinu lechaim. Seal us for life. We are on the 5th stage. We rose stage step by step up in the world of the tree of life. Please God, we are like almost angels. We are so floating in your pool of tree of life. Seal us like this. We ask you just like stick it this way so we'll stay on that consciousness for the rest of the year. Happiness, love, satisfaction, like what else do you need? Tree of life. That's how I want to stay the whole year long. Okay, now. Inun deit alai ugzer din beneder uvishvua. But what Kol Nidre has to deal with that? In the beginning of the holiday, we're still rising up. Remember, we're rising up from Malchut to Zeir Anpin and then to Bina. We're on the way through Zeir Anpin. Inun deit alai ugzer din beneder uvishvua. Those who have a decree waiting for them, you know how do you say, It's a decree waiting in the pipes, correct? It's like, it's like stuck in that government office. Somebody a clerk has to sign, and then another clerk. Finally, it goes through the pipes and hits you. Okay? So the same thing, there are pipes in the upper world. Remember Sfirat Zerampin? That's where the pipes are. So there is a decree because there's a blockage in one of the pipes. And sooner or later, you're going to pay the price. By the way, who created the blockage? I did. It's a cause and effect universe. Okay? It's a cause and effect universe. That's called a decree, and that's called an oath. An oath, a neder. Okay? So when we are beginning the prayer of Yom Kippur, and we take the Torah out, the Torahs out, and we take the Torahs around the congregation, and everybody can touch it and kiss it and connect to it. We all rise to the level of the Torah, which is Zeir Anpin, the pipes. And then we all stand there with certainty, with unity, with the Torahs, the whole congregation. And we say all of these oaths, all of these decrees are canceled. We cancel them. It's like, you know, like you have Iron Dome in Israel, when our enemies are sending rockets to hit a village, a kindergarten, anything. Okay, so we launch another rocket that intercepts that rocket in the air, so it doesn't hit anything. That's exactly what we do on Yom Kippur, on Kol Nidrei. We are rising, we're flying, the whole congregation, we're flying with the Torahs up in the air. Because if you look at the last line of this this paragraph in the Zohar, it says, "Ha'eter nidarim porchim ba'avir." It's annulling vows flying up in the air. What? What's vows flying up in the air? But we know that Zeir Anpin, the level of light, is also called air, the element of air. So all of these vows are where? In the pipes system. We fly, we have the opportunity to open all the pipes and to remove in the beginning of Yom Kippur all of those decrees. So even though there are decrees on the way to hit us because of stuff we did in past years, when we come in unity and we say, no vows, no decrees, cancel, everyone should be atoned and forgiven. We annul those decrees. So we're not talking about our own vows that we annul on Kol Nidrei. We're talking about those cosmic vows that cause an effect. You hurt someone, you hurt the universe, it will come back at you. No. Now I'm a new person. So all of these decrees are not, we can cancel them. We're changing our ways. When we hurt others, it was because we were slaves. Now we are free people. Free people don't hurt others. Why? We're sensitive. So, of course, there's a lot of more stuff, but I think we covered a lot of what we are supposed to cover on Yom Kippur, connecting to the Tree of Life, connecting to the month of Tishrei, Libra, which are the scales. What are the scales in Hebrew? It's Moznaim, the balance. You know, even I think in French, you don't say Libra, you say balance. It's balancing ourselves, and when we are balanced, whatever does not fit, like simply roll over and stays in the previous year. Any questions?
Hi.
Yes.
Sorry if I spoke. I'm at work. I'm like sneaking to this class. So basically, everything you said, I try to remember. But when I stand there at Shul, God willing, and say, please cancel all decrees and all, what was the other word? Vows?
Vows.
Please annul it. I was a slave. I'm free now. I just want unity. It'll cancel it?
Yes, 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 that's it. That's the consciousness of Yom Kippur. That's what we want to become. Free as birds. Right?
I have a question.
Yes.
How can you do the Kabbalah through Kabbalah?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Kabbalah. How do we do it? I didn't see a notice this year.
How do we do what?
Kabbalah.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
Kapparot means, how do we do kapparot this year?
Kapparot. Okay, I think in most Jewish centers.
No. How do we do it with you?
Not you. Basically, you shouldn't do it by yourself because you have to know how to do it. So you basically, either you go to do it with people who do it. Today, because, and especially in the last few years, there's a problem because so many people getting together, it's dangerous, okay? And people want to do it right. Usually a lot of people get together, okay? And the rabbi does it and he takes all the names of the whole congregation and he does it for everybody.
Are you doing it this year?
Yes, I'll do it this year. So
okay.
If you send your name, whatever, we can do it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Shana Tova, yes. Just a second, we can't hear you. Just a second. Okay.
Is that better?
Yes, Atzila.
Yes. You talked on Yom Kippur about eating twice.
On the eve of Yom Kippur.
Right.
So you have to eat, the law is that you have to eat twice. One for the day and one for Yom Kippur because you're building a vessel to bring in all of that light of Yom Kippur.
So in other words, what you're saying is after we finish our regular meal and we go into that feast we have just before Yom Kippur, the one we had before is also counted as a meal?
Usually what people do is to do a festive meal in the morning and then another one before the holiday starts. So you have two holiday meals with hamotzi, with the challah, with honey, with meat, or with fish, whatever is considered for you a festive meal. So you do two festive meals with the consciousness, I'm eating to build a physical vessel so all the bliss of Yom Kippur has where to settle when it's coming in on Yom Kippur.
Right. So we should have challah at both meals then.
So yeah, you should have challah and it's like, white tablecloth, it's a holiday meal, twice. One in the morning usually, and one just in the afternoon, just before the holiday.
Okay, thank you.
Just before the fast begins. Yes.
Now, when I break the fast, I don't want to eat a lot of food. Is it okay just to have some tea?
No. After the fast, it's not important.
Okay.
You can drink some whatever. It's not healthy to eat a lot after breaking the fast. So you just taste something. And anyway, if you're really connected and you really ate the whole day, you're not hungry. You ate 5 meals, right? So if you're really connected to it, like the end of Yom Kippur, you're full of energy and you're not hungry. So you just take a bite. You do havdalah, take a bite, and then if later on you want to eat, you eat. But there's no mitzvah to eat a big meal at the end of Yom Kippur, after Yom Kippur is over. Okay, thank you everyone. Have an amazing year, full and amazing fast, full of positivity and greatness, and see you next time.